The boardroom on the fifth floor of Alpha King Conglomerate erupted into chaos. Tina had been sitting at the large conference table with Dr. Reeves and four other senior managers presenting her quarterly analysis reports. The meeting had been going exceptionally well. Her data visualizations were impressive, her insights sharp, her recommendations sound. Then her phone rang. She'd almost ignored it. The meeting protocol was no personal calls, but something made her glance at the screen. Laura knew she was in this important meeting. Laura wouldn't call unless it was an emergency. "I'm so sorry," Tina had said to Dr. Reeves. "It's my daughter's caretaker." "I need to take this. It'll just be 1 second." She'd answered, heard Laura's voice, heard those terrible, impossible words. "Someone took Priscilla. She's gone." The phone slipped from Tina's nerveless fingers and clattered loudly against the polished boardroom table, then fell to the floor. "No!" Tina screamed, a sound of pure anguish that came from the deepest, most primal part of her soul. "No! N-O! N-O! Not my baby! Not my baby!" She stood up so violently, her chair toppled backward with a crash. Her hands went to her head, pulling at her hair, her whole body shaking. "My baby! Someone took my baby! Priscilla! Oh God! Priscilla!" Dr. Reeves jumped up immediately. "Tina! Tina, what happened? What's wrong?" But Tina couldn't hear her, couldn't hear anything except the roaring in her ears, the sound of her world ending, her worst nightmare coming true. She was already running, stumbling really, toward the door, tears streaming down her face, her breath coming in ragged, panicked gasps. "My baby! I need to find my baby. Someone took my baby." Meanwhile, Peter was in a meeting with the board of directors at the headquarters building when his phone vibrated in his pocket. He glanced down and saw Laura's name. Laura had never called him before. Not once. Something was very, very wrong. "Excuse me for just 1 moment," Peter said to the board members, stepping out of the conference room into the hallway. He answered, "Laura? What's Peter?" Laura's voice was high-pitched, frantic, barely coherent. "Peter, someone took Priscilla. Someone kidnapped her from the daycare. She's gone. Tina is falling apart. We need help. We need you." Peter felt the floor drop out from under him. The world went silent except for the sound of his own heart pounding in his ears like a war drum. "I'm coming," Peter said, his voice suddenly cold and hard as steel. "I'm coming right now. I'll be there in 15 minutes. He hung up and ran back into the boardroom. "Meeting adjourned," Peter said, his voice sharp and brooking no argument. "Family emergency. My daughter has been kidnapped. We'll reschedule." "But sir," one of the board members started. "My daughter has been kidnapped!" Peter roared, and the force in his voice made everyone flinch. "I'm leaving." Now he didn't wait for responses. He was already running. His driver had the car at the entrance within seconds. Peter jumped in before it fully stopped. "Victoria Island branch office," Peter commanded. "Drive like our lives depend on it." The Mercedes tore through Lagos traffic. They made it to the Victoria Island branch in 12 minutes. Peter immediately mobilized his security team. "Get me the daycare CCTV footage. Now. Every camera, every angle. I want to see exactly what happened and who took that child." Within minutes, Chidi had the footage pulled up on a tablet. Peter watched with cold, focused intensity as a woman in sunglasses and a wig entered the daycare, spoke briefly with the overwhelmed teacher, then walked out carrying Priscilla. Peter's jaw clenched. Even with the disguise, he recognized that walk, that posture, that calculated confidence. "Amanda West," Peter said, his voice deadly quiet. "It's Amanda. She's the one who took Priscilla." "Sir, are you certain?" Chidi asked. 100% certain. Put out an APB immediately. Contact every police station in Lagos. Amanda West, recently released from prison, assault conviction. She's kidnapped a 7-month-old baby. Consider her dangerous. Chidi was already on his phone, barking orders. Peter then drove straight to Laura's apartment in Surulere. When he knocked on the door, Laura opened it immediately, her face streaked with tears. Inside, Tina was on the couch, sobbing so violently her whole body shook. Her face was buried in her hands, and the sounds coming from her were barely human, raw, broken sounds of a mother whose child had been stolen. "Tina," Peter said softly, sitting down beside her and pulling her into his arms. She collapsed against his chest, sobbing uncontrollably. "They took her. Someone took my baby, my Priscilla. She must be so scared. She's probably crying for me, and I'm not there. I'm not there." "Shh," Peter said, holding her tight, rubbing her back gently. "We're going to find her. I promise you, we're going to bring Priscilla home safe." "How can you promise that?" Tina gasped between sobs. "She could be anywhere. She could be hurt. She could be—" "Don't," Peter said firmly, pulling back to look into her red, swollen eyes. "Don't go there, Tina. Priscilla is alive. Priscilla is going to be fine. We're going to find her. I have my entire team working on this right now." Laura brought them both water, her own hands shaking. Peter's phone rang. He stood up and walked to the corner of the room, speaking in low, urgent tones. "Yes, track that number. I don't care about jurisdiction. Just do it. Check every hotel in Surulere, Yaba, Ikeja. Yes, I want updates every 15 minutes." He made call after call, his voice becoming harder, more commanding with each conversation. Then he'd come back to sit with Tina, holding her hand, reassuring her, before standing up again to make more calls. "We have police, private investigators, my security team. Everyone is looking," Peter told Tina during one of these breaks. "We're going to find her." But even as he spoke, Tina's phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. With trembling hands, Tina opened it. It was a photo of Priscilla crying in an unfamiliar room. Below it, a message. "You took everything from me. Now I'm taking everything from you. I will destroy everything that you hold precious. How does it feel to have your world torn apart?" Tina let out a wail that made both Peter and Laura's hearts shatter. "Who would do this?" Tina sobbed, showing Peter the phone. "Who? What have I done? What have I done to deserve this? Who would want to hurt me and my innocent baby like this?" Peter's face went dark as he read the message. He stood up and stepped away again, calling Chidi. "I need you to trace this number immediately. It's Amanda. She's taunting us." "Yes, I'm sending you the screenshot now." He came back and knelt in front of Tina, taking both her shaking hands in his. "It's Amanda West," Peter said quietly. "Amanda?" Tina's eyes went wide. "The woman who attacked me? But why? What have I done to her? She attacked me and Priscilla months ago and nearly killed us both. We serve it. Why is she coming after us again? What did I do wrong? What did I do to make her hate me so much?" Peter's jaw clenched. This was his fault. All of it. "It's not you," Peter said, his voice heavy with guilt and anger. "She's not targeting you, Tina. She's targeting me. This is her revenge on me." "What?" Tina stared at him in confusion. "What do you mean she's targeting you?" "I'm the one she attacked. I'm the one whose baby she kidnapped." Amanda had feelings for me," Peter said, struggling to find the right words. "For years, obsessive feelings. I never reciprocated, never gave her any indication I was interested. But she wouldn't let it go. It got so bad, I had to transfer her away from headquarters to the Victoria Island branch office just to create distance. And then, after what she did to you in the elevator, I fired her immediately and had her arrested. She went to prison because of me. And now she's out and she's taking her revenge." I still don't understand, Tina said, shaking her head in confusion and grief. Why would my baby being kidnapped be revenge against you? Unless she stopped staring at him, really looking at him. Peter, who are you? Tina asked slowly. You told me you work in security, but you're talking about transferring senior managers. You're mobilizing half of Lagos. You're giving orders like, she trailed off, pieces clicking into place in her exhausted, terrified mind. Peter took a deep breath. There was no more hiding, no more lies. I'm not security staff, Peter said quietly. I never was. I'm the CEO, Peter King, CEO of Alpha King Conglomerate. I've been lying to you about who I am since the day we met. The silence in the room was deafening. Even Laura, who knew Peter's secrets, was quiet. If Tina found out she knew about Peter's identity all along, she would be beaten like a stubborn she-goat. So she kept her mouth shut and gave them room. Tina just stared at him, her mouth slightly open, trying to process this information on top of everything else. You're the CEO, she whispered. You've been my boss this entire time. Yes. So you hired me, Tina said, her voice flat. That job I got, it wasn't because I was qualified. It was because you wanted. No, Peter interrupted firmly. You got that job because you're brilliant, because your portfolio was exceptional, because you earned it. I showed your work to the hiring team and they were amazed. That part was never a lie. But everything else was, Tina said, and Peter could hear the hurt beneath the exhaustion and fear. Our friendship, you coming to my apartment every week, playing with Priscilla, helping me fix things, bringing groceries. All of it was based on a lie. You've been lying to me for months, Peter. Months. My feelings were never a lie, Peter said desperately. Everything I feel for you and Priscilla, that's real. That's the only truth that matters. I love you both. That's not a lie. How can I believe anything you say? Tina asked, tears starting fresh. How can I trust anything when you've been lying from the beginning? And now my daughter, her voice broke completely. My daughter is missing because of your ex-employee who's obsessed with you. The accusation hung in the air like poison. Before Peter could respond, his phone rang. He answered immediately. Yes? His voice was sharp, urgent. Sir, we found her. It was Chidi. Hotel in Surulere. Someone matching Amanda's description checked in with a baby. We've alerted the police. They're moving in now. Which hotel? Peter demanded. Chidi gave him the address. We're on our way, Peter said, hanging up. He turned to Tina. They found her. They found Priscilla. She's at a hotel in Surulere. The police are there now. Oh, God, Tina gasped, standing up on shaking legs. Is she okay? Is she hurt? I don't know yet, Peter said honestly, but we're going there right now. They all rushed to Peter's car, Tina, Laura, and Peter. The driver navigated through traffic as fast as safely possible while Peter made more calls, coordinating with the police. When they arrived at the hotel, police cars were already there. Officers were leading Amanda West out in handcuffs. Her wig was gone, her sunglasses removed. She looked defeated, empty, broken. Amanda's eyes met Peter's for just a second, full of hatred and something that might have been regret, before the officers put her in the police car. Where's my baby? Tina demanded, pushing past everyone. Where is Priscilla? A female police officer emerged from the hotel carrying a small bundle. Priscilla was crying, loud, healthy cries that were the most beautiful sound Tina had ever heard. Priscilla, Tina sobbed, reaching for her daughter. The officer placed Priscilla in Tina's arms, and Tina held her so tight, sobbing into her baby's soft hair, kissing her face over and over. Oh, my baby, my precious baby, Tina cried. Mommy's here. Mommy's here now. You're safe, you're safe. Priscilla's cries quieted as she recognized her mother's voice, her scent, her arms. She buried her little face in Tina's neck, her tiny fist clutching Tina's shirt. Peter stood back, watching, his own eyes burning with tears he refused to let fall. Relief flooded through him so intensely his knees felt weak. She was safe. Priscilla was safe. "We'll need everyone to come to the station to give statements," one of the officers said. At the police station, they spent 2 hours giving detailed statements. Tina recounted everything: the elevator attack months ago, the kidnapping today, the threatening messages. Laura explained what happened at the daycare. Peter provided all the background information on Amanda, her obsession, her previous assault conviction, everything. Amanda West sat in a cell, silent and sullen, refusing to speak to anyone. "She'll be charged with kidnapping a minor, child endangerment, and criminal harassment," the lead detective told them. "Given her prior conviction and the severity of this crime, she's looking at significant prison time. Minimum 10 years. "Good," Peter said coldly. "She deserves every day of it." After they finished at the police station, it was nearly midnight. Peter drove Tina, Priscilla, and Laura back to the apartment in Surulere. Priscilla had fallen asleep in Tina's arms, exhausted from crying, completely unaware of how close she'd come to disaster. When they arrived at the apartment, Tina carried Priscilla inside and gently laid her in her crib. She stood there for a long moment, just watching her daughter sleep, one hand resting protectively on her tiny chest, feeling it rise and fall with each breath. She was safe. Her baby was safe. But everything else felt broken. Laura quietly excused herself to her bedroom, sensing that Peter and Tina needed to talk. Tina came back to the living room where Peter was standing awkwardly by the door, clearly unsure if he should stay or go. "Peter," Tina said quietly, her voice exhausted beyond measure, "I need space." Peter's heart sank, but he nodded. "I understand. Everything that happened today, in the past few hours, it's too much," Tina continued, wrapping her arms around herself. "My daughter was kidnapped. I found out you've been lying to me for months about who you are. I found out she was taken because of someone's obsession with you. It's all too much. I need time to process. I need space to think." "Tina, please." "I trusted you," Tina said, and her voice broke. "I let you into my life. I let you hold my daughter, feed her, sing to her, become part of our daily routine. I trusted you completely. And you were lying the whole time about something fundamental, about who you even are." "I'm still the same person," Peter said desperately. "The title doesn't change who I am. I'm still the man who held Priscilla when she was born, who fixed your apartment, But I don't even know who that man is," Tina interrupted, "because you've been pretending. Playing a role? I don't know what's real anymore." "My love for you and Priscilla is real," Peter said. "That's the realest thing I've ever felt." "Maybe," Tina said, "but right now I can't. I just can't. I need space, Peter. Please, I need time to think about whether I can move past this, whether I want someone in my life, in Priscilla's life, who brings this kind of danger with them." The words cut Peter deeper than any knife could. "I understand," he said quietly, even though his heart was breaking. "Take all the time you need. But Tina, please know I will never stop caring about you and Priscilla. Never." He turned and walked out, closing the door softly behind him. Peter sat in his car for a long moment before driving away, his hands gripping the steering wheel so tight his knuckles were white. He'd lost her. He'd finally lost her. The next few days were unbearable for everyone. Peter went to work, but he was a shell of himself. He sat in meetings without really hearing what was said. He stared at reports without seeing the numbers. His assistant, Michael, noticed immediately. "Sir, are you all right?" Michael asked carefully after Peter had called him by the wrong name for the third time that day. "Fine," Peter lied, "just tired." But he wasn't fine. He was miserable, heartbroken. The penthouse in Ikoyi that had always felt empty now felt like a tomb. Every evening he'd sit on his expensive couch in his expensive living room and stare at his phone, wanting to call Tina, wanting to check on Priscilla, but respecting Tina's request for space. He missed them. God, he missed them so much it physically hurt. Missed Priscilla's giggles, missed Tina's smile, missed feeling like he belonged somewhere, to someone. At the apartment in Surulere, things were equally miserable, but for different reasons. Tina went through her days in a fog. She went to work, performed her duties mechanically, came home. She should have been relieved. Priscilla was safe. Amanda was in jail. The nightmare was over. But she felt empty, hollow, like a piece of her was missing. And Priscilla was inconsolable. The baby who had always been so happy, so easy, was now crying constantly. She refused her bottles, refused to eat the baby food Tina tried to feed her. She barely slept, just fussing and whimpering and crying through the night. "Come on, baby, please," Tina begged, trying to get Priscilla to take her bottle for the 4th time that day. "Please eat. You need to eat." But Priscilla just turned her head away, her little face scrunched up, tears streaming down her chubby cheeks. She had lost weight. In just a few days, Tina could see it. Priscilla's cheeks weren't as full. Her little arms and legs looked thinner. "What's wrong with her?" Tina asked Laura desperately one evening, both of them exhausted from another day of nonstop crying. "Why won't she eat? Is she sick? Should I take her to the doctor?" Laura looked at her friend with sympathy and exasperation. "She's not sick, Tina," Laura said gently. "She misses Peter. She's 7 months old. She's 7 months old," Laura interrupted. 7 months of having Peter around constantly. He's been in her life since the day she was born. He fed her. He sang to her every single night. Even when he wasn't here, he'd call and you'd put him on speakerphone so he could sing her lullabies. He held her, played with her, made her laugh. To Priscilla, Peter is her father. And suddenly, he's just gone. She doesn't understand why. She can't ask, "Where is Peter?" So she's asking the only way she knows how, by crying. Tina felt tears sting her eyes because she knew Laura was right. The apartment felt like a funeral home, dead silent except for Priscilla's crying. Nobody was smiling. Nobody was laughing. Laura walked around like she was at a wake. Tina moved through her days like a ghost. They were all miserable, all mourning, all missing Peter, even though nobody wanted to say it out loud. 4 days after Peter left, Laura had had enough. She found Tina sitting on the couch at 11 p.m., staring at nothing while Priscilla cried in her crib, having refused yet another bottle. "Okay, we need to talk," Laura said, sitting down firmly beside her friend. "Laura, I'm tired." "Good, because I'm tired too. I'm tired of living in this miserable house. I'm tired of listening to Priscilla cry. I'm tired of watching you mope around like someone died. So we're going to have a real conversation. Right now." Tina looked at her friend. "You love him," Laura said. It wasn't a question. "That's not..." "You love him, Tina. Stop lying to yourself. You're miserable without him. Priscilla is literally starving herself because she misses him. This man has been nothing but good to you. Yes, he lied about his title, but did he lie about his feelings? Did he lie about how he treats you and Priscilla?" "He put us in danger," Tina said weakly. "Amanda put you in danger," Laura corrected, "not Peter. Peter saved you. Both times when you were dying in that elevator, who found you? Who rushed you to the hospital? Who paid all your bills? Who got you a date? Who's been showing up consistently for a year, proving that he's not going anywhere? Who loves your daughter like she's his own? Tell me, Tina, was that Peter or was that the CEO? It's the same person. Exactly, Laura said. It is the same person. The only thing that changed is you know his job title now. Everything else, his kindness, his love for you and Priscilla, his reliability, that's all still there. That was always real. But he lied. And you're going to throw away the best thing that ever happened to you because of one lie, Laura demanded. Listen to yourself. After David destroyed you, after months of being rejected by every company in Lagos, after nearly dying, after being a single mother with nothing, this man appeared like an angel. He saved your life. He gave you a career. He loves your daughter. He loves you, and he has a good head on his shoulders, Tina. I've told you this before. If you don't want him, borrow me, let me marry him. Because this man is special. Tina was crying now, silent tears streaming down her face. I'm scared, she whispered. What if he leaves like David did? What if this doesn't work out and Priscilla gets even more attached and then he's gone and she's heartbroken? What if he stays? Laura interrupted gently, taking Tina's hands. What if he's exactly what you have always hoped for? What if you're throwing away your chance at real happiness because you're afraid? David was a coward and a liar, but Peter ran into danger to save you. Peter has shown up every single day. Peter loves your daughter enough to cry himself to sleep in his fancy penthouse because he misses her. That's not a man who's going to leave. They talked for hours, deep into the night, about fear and trust, about second chances and taking risks, about David and Peter and the difference between them. Give him a chance, Laura said finally. Call him. Text him. Tell him you miss him, because you do, and Priscilla definitely does. And honestly, I miss him too. This house is dead without him. Tina didn't sleep that night. She lay in bed, listening to Priscilla's soft whimpers through the baby monitor, thinking about everything Laura had said. Peter had lied. That was true. But everything else? Everything else had been real. His kindness, his consistency, his love. And she missed him. God, she missed him so much. The next morning, Tina woke up exhausted mentally and physically. She picked up her phone. Her hand shook as she typed out a simple message. We miss you. Priscilla misses you. She hit send before she could change her mind. Peter was in his car being driven to the office for another day of pretending to function when his phone buzzed with a text. He glanced at it out of habit, not expecting anything important. Then he saw Tina's name. His heart stopped. He read the message once, twice, 3 times, hardly daring to believe it was real. We miss you. Priscilla misses you. Turn around, Peter said immediately. Sir? The driver asked, confused. Turn the car around right now. Peter's voice was urgent, desperate, alive for the first time in days. We're going to Surulere. As fast as you can. The driver made an illegal U-turn right there in traffic, earning angry honks from other drivers, and sped towards Surulere. Peter's heart was pounding. His hands were shaking. She missed him. They missed him. Maybe, just maybe, he hadn't lost them after all. When they pulled up to the apartment building 15 minutes later, Peter didn't even wait for the car to fully stop. He jumped out and ran up the stairs 2 at a time. He could hear crying before he even reached the door. Priscilla's cries, heartbreaking, exhausted, desperate cries. He knocked urgently. Laura opened the door and her face broke into a smile. Thank God. Get in here. Peter rushed inside. The scene in the living room made his heart break. Tina was sitting on the couch, looking absolutely exhausted, with dark circles under her eyes. She was holding Priscilla, trying desperately to get her to take a bottle, but the baby was crying and turning her head away, her little fist pushing at the bottle. Come on, baby, please, Tina was begging, her own voice thick with tears. Please eat. You have to eat something. Please, Priscilla. But Priscilla just cried harder, her face red and scrunched up. her little body shaking with sobs. "Hi, Princess," Peter said softly. Immediately, Priscilla's head whipped around toward his voice. Her crying stopped mid-sob. Her eyes went wide, and then her face broke into the biggest smile, her arms reaching out desperately toward Peter. "Ah," Priscilla babbled excitedly, bouncing in Tina's arms, reaching for Peter. Peter crossed the room in 2 strides, dropped to his knees in front of the couch, and gently took Priscilla from Tina's arms. "Hi, baby girl," Peter said, his voice thick with emotion. "Hi, I'm here. I'm so sorry. I'm here now." Priscilla immediately snuggled into his chest, her little hands grabbing his shirt, her face buried in his neck. She let out a long, shuddering breath, like she'd been holding it for tears and could finally breathe again. Peter held her close, one hand supporting her back, the other gently stroking her soft hair. He pressed a kiss to the top of her head. "She lost weight," Peter said, and Tina could hear the pain in his voice. "Why did you lose weight, Princess? Haven't you been eating?" "She won't eat," Tina said quietly. "She hasn't eaten properly in days. Won't take her bottles, won't eat her food. I've tried everything. I was about to take her to the doctor because I thought she was sick." "She's not sick," Peter said gently, looking at Priscilla's little face. "She just missed me." "Didn't you, Princess? You missed Uncle Peter?" Priscilla responded by grabbing his nose and making a happy babbling sound, her tears already drying. "Let's see if we can get you to eat now, okay?" Peter said. He took off his expensive suit jacket, Armani, probably cost more than most people's monthly rent, and tossed it carelessly on the floor. Then he sat down cross-legged on the living room floor, settling Priscilla in his lap. "Can I have her bottle?" Peter asked. Tina handed it to him, watching in amazement. Peter positioned the bottle gently at Priscilla's lips. "Come on, baby girl. Time to eat. You need to be strong and healthy." Priscilla looked up at him with those big, trusting eyes, and then she took the bottle. She actually drank, gulping down the formula like she was starving, which she was. "That's my girl," Peter said softly, smiling down at her. "That's my good girl. There you go. Eat as much as you want." Tina watched from the couch, tears streaming silently down her face. This was the first time Priscilla had eaten properly in 4 days. The first time she'd stopped crying. The first time she had smiled. All because Peter was here. Priscilla finished the entire bottle, something she hadn't done in days. When she was done, she let out a little burp that made Peter laugh, then immediately started to doze off in his arms, finally content, finally at peace. Peter just sat there on the floor, holding her while she slept, gently rocking her, humming softly. Tina watched him, this man in his expensive clothes sitting cross-legged on her cheap floor, holding her daughter with such tenderness and love, and her heart just softened, melted, opened up. This was real. This love was real. "I'm sorry," Tina whispered. Peter looked up at her. "You don't have anything to be sorry for. I pushed you away when I should have held on tighter," Tina said. "I was scared. Scared of being hurt again. Scared of you leaving like David did. But you're not David. You're nothing like David. You're everything I didn't know I needed. And I love you. I love you so much it terrifies me." "I love you too," Peter said. "You and Priscilla. You're my family, the only family I want." "I'm still upset you lied," Tina said honestly, "but I understand why you did it, and I forgive you. But Peter, no more lies, ever, about anything." "No more lies," Peter promised. "I swear, full transparency from now on, about everything." Tina stood up and moved to sit beside him on the floor. She leaned her head on his shoulder, looking down at Priscilla sleeping peacefully in his arms. "She needs you," Tina said softly. "We both need you." I need you both too, Peter said. More than you know. They sat there in comfortable silence, the three of them together on the living room floor, finally whole again. Laura peeked out from her bedroom, saw the scene, and smiled. Finally, this house could start living again. 3 weeks after the kidnapping, Amanda West's trial began at the Lagos High Court. The courtroom was packed with media and spectators. This was the story that had dominated Lagos newspapers. CEO's ex-manager kidnaps baby in revenge plot. The prosecution's case was overwhelming. They had CCTV footage, the threatening text messages, witness testimony, and Amanda's clear pattern of violence. Amanda's defense attorney tried desperately to save her. He argued temporary insanity brought on by the trauma of imprisonment. He claimed Amanda had been driven mad by unrequited love and unjust treatment. But the prosecution demolished every argument with cold, hard facts. This was not insanity, the prosecutor declared. This was calculated revenge. Miss West spent weeks planning this kidnapping. She hired informants. She studied routines. She purchased disguises. This was premeditated cruelty from a woman who wanted to destroy innocent lives. When the judge delivered her verdict, her voice was stern and unforgiving. Miss Amanda West, I find you guilty of kidnapping a minor, child endangerment, and criminal harassment. You endangered the lives of innocent people out of jealousy and rage. I hereby sentence you to 10 years imprisonment with no possibility of early parole. Additionally, you are permanently banned from contacting Tina Adeyemi, Priscilla Adeyemi, or Peter King for the rest of your natural life. 10 years. As the guards led Amanda away in handcuffs, she looked back one final time with pure hatred in her eyes. But it was over. Justice had been served. 2 months after Amanda's sentencing, Peter proposed to Tina properly. It was a quiet Sunday afternoon. They were at Peter's penthouse in Ikoyi. Tina had been spending more time there, slowly getting comfortable in his space, slowly letting herself believe this was real and permanent. Priscilla was napping in the guest room that Peter had already converted into a nursery for her. Peter took Tina's hand and led her out to the balcony overlooking the Lagos skyline. Tina, he said, pulling out the ring box he'd shown her once before, I know we have been through hell and back. I know I hurt you by lying. I know Amanda brought danger into your life because of me. But through all of it, one thing has never changed. I love you. I love Priscilla. You're my family. The only family I want. He knelt down on one knee. Tina Adeyemi, will you marry me? Will you let me be your husband and Priscilla's father? Will you let me spend the rest of my life proving I'm worthy of your trust and your love? Tears streamed down Tina's face. Yes, she whispered. Yes, I'll marry you. Peter slipped the ring onto her finger and pulled her into his arms, kissing her deeply as the Lagos sun set behind them. 3 months later, they got married in a beautiful but intimate ceremony at a small chapel in Lekki. Only close friends and family attended, about 50 people. Mrs. Tayo was there, crying happy tears. Peter's close friends and business associates. Tina's colleagues from work. Laura was the chief bridesmaid. Wearing a stunning emerald dress and crying through the entire ceremony. And Priscilla, now 11 months old and absolutely adorable in a tiny white dress, was the flower girl. Laura carried Priscilla down the aisle. The little girl was supposed to drop flower petals from a basket, and she did. But she also kept trying to eat them, which made everyone laugh. Pee-pee, Priscilla called out when she saw Peter at the altar, reaching for him with her chubby hands. The ceremony was beautiful and filled with love. When Peter and Tina exchanged vows, there wasn't a dry eye in the chapel. I do, Peter said firmly. I do, Tina said, smiling through happy tears. I now pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss your bride. Peter pulled Tina close and kissed her as everyone applauded. Priscilla clapped her little hands enthusiastically, not understanding what was happening, but knowing it was something wonderful. At the reception, they danced, ate amazing food, and celebrated their love surrounded by everyone who mattered. After the wedding, Tina and Priscilla moved into Peter's beautiful home in Ikoyi, a spacious house with a garden, multiple bedrooms, and enough room for their growing family. Laura, not wanting to be far from her best friend and goddaughter, also moved to the island. Peter helped her get a better job at one of his partner companies, and she found a nice apartment just 15 minutes away. 1 week after the wedding, Peter officially adopted Priscilla. He signed all the legal papers making her Priscilla King, his daughter in every legal sense. When the judge finalized the adoption and handed Peter the certificate, he cried. Actually cried, holding the paper like it was the most precious thing in the world. "Thank you," he whispered to Tina that evening as they put Priscilla to bed. "Thank you for letting me be her father. Thank you for giving me this family." "You earned it," Tina said, kissing him softly. "You've been her father since the day she was born." This just makes it official. 2 months after the wedding, Tina started feeling unwell. She was tired all the time, nauseous in the mornings, feeling feverish and weak. "Maybe you should see a doctor," Peter suggested, worried. "This has been going on for a week now." "It's probably just stress from the wedding and moving and adjusting to everything," Tina said. "I'll be fine." But Laura, who had come over for dinner, took one look at Tina and knew immediately. "Girl, you're pregnant," Laura said matter-of-factly. "What? No, I can't be." "You're pregnant," Laura repeated. "I know the signs. Go take a test right now." So Tina took a pregnancy test, and then another one, and then a third one just to be sure. All positive. She was pregnant. When she told Peter, he just stared at her for a long moment, his mouth slightly open. "You're pregnant," he whispered. "I'm pregnant," Tina confirmed. And then Peter burst into tears. Full, uncontrolled, joyful tears streaming down his face. He pulled Tina into his arms and sobbed into her shoulder. "A baby. Our baby. Tina, we're having a baby." "Yes," Tina laughed, crying too. "We're having a baby." "Thank you," Peter said, pulling back to cup her face in his hands. "Thank you for making my family complete. Thank you for giving me everything I never knew I needed. Thank you for choosing me." "Thank you for choosing us," Tina said. "Thank you for saving us. Thank you for loving Priscilla like she's yours. Thank you for being the man I can trust, the man I can build a life with." They held each other, crying happy tears, overwhelmed with joy and gratitude. When Tina was 6 months pregnant, showing beautifully, glowing with happiness, her phone rang one afternoon with an unfamiliar international number. She almost didn't answer. It was probably spam or customer service from one of the online platforms she used, but something made her pick up. "Hello? Tina?" The voice on the other end made her freeze. "It's me, David, her ex, the man who had abandoned her when she was pregnant, the man who had stolen her work and disappeared to America with another woman, the man who had destroyed her life and left her with nothing." "David," Tina said, her voice cold and flat, "what do you want?" "I heard you got married," David said. There was something in his voice, regret, maybe, or nostalgia. "I heard you had a baby. A daughter. Is she mine?" Tina felt rage rise up in her chest, the audacity, the absolute audacity of this man. "No, David," Tina said, her voice sharp as broken glass. "She is not yours. You don't get to claim her. You abandoned us before she was even born. You sold everything we built together and disappeared without a word. You left me pregnant, alone, and desperate. You don't get to call now and ask if she's yours." "Tina, I just wanted to—" "She has a father," Tina interrupted firmly. "An amazing father who was there the day she was born, who held her when she cried, who fed her, changed her, sang her lullabies every single night, who loves her like she's his own blood, who adopted her legally and gave her his name. That's her father, not you, never you. I made mistakes. You made choices, Tina corrected, and those choices have consequences. One of those consequences is that you don't get to be part of our lives. My daughter has everything she needs. A father who loves her, a mother who would die for her, a stable home, a happy family. We don't need you. We never needed you. Tina, I hope you're happy with your life in America, Tina said, and she meant it. She wasn't angry anymore. She was just done. I hope you found what you were looking for. But David, please never call this number again. We've moved on. You should too. She hung up before he could respond. Tina stood there for a moment, her hand resting on her pregnant belly, feeling her baby kick inside her. Then she smiled because she was grateful. Grateful for the life she had now. Grateful for the man who had chosen her and her daughter when someone else had thrown them away. Grateful for second chances. That evening, Peter came home from work to find Tina in the kitchen preparing dinner, though he'd told her 100 times she didn't have to cook while pregnant. You're supposed to be resting, Peter scolded gently, wrapping his arms around her from behind, his hands resting on her swollen belly. I'm fine, Tina said, leaning back against him. I wanted to cook for my family. Where's Priscilla? Living room, playing with her blocks. Peter kissed Tina's neck, then went to find his daughter. Tina watched from the kitchen as Peter sat on the floor with Priscilla, this powerful CEO in his expensive suit, sitting cross-legged on the carpet, helping a toddler stack colorful blocks. That's it, princess. You're so smart. Can you put the blue one on top? Priscilla babbled happily, proud of herself, then knocked the whole tower down and giggled. Later, after dinner, Tina watched Peter give Priscilla her bath, carefully washing her hair, making funny faces to make her laugh, wrapping her in a fluffy towel afterward. Then she watched him read Priscilla her bedtime story, doing all the voices, making the little girl giggle even as her eyes drooped with sleepiness. I love you, princess, Peter whispered as he tucked Priscilla into bed. Sweet dreams. Love, Daddy, Priscilla mumbled sleepily. Peter kissed her forehead and turned on her nightlight before quietly closing the door. Tina was waiting in the hallway, tears in her eyes. What's wrong? Peter asked, immediately concerned. Is it the baby? Are you okay? I'm perfect, Tina said, wiping her eyes. I'm just grateful, so incredibly grateful. For what? For you, Tina said. For this life. For this family. David called today. Peter's expression darkened immediately. What did he want? To know if Priscilla was his, Tina said. I told him no. I told him she has a father, an amazing father who's been there since day one. And Peter, watching you tonight with her, I'm just so grateful. The road that led me here was rough. The heartbreak was massive. I almost died. I lost everything. But every disappointment was a blessing in disguise because it brought me here, to you, to this family, to this happiness. Peter pulled her into his arms, holding her and their unborn baby close. I'm the grateful one, Peter said. You gave me purpose. You gave me love. You gave me Priscilla. You're giving me another child. Tina, you gave me everything. They stood there in the hallway holding each other, overwhelmed with gratitude for second chances, for survival, for love that had conquered everything. Their journey had been painful, brutal at times, full of danger and heartbreak and fear. But they'd made it, together. And now they had everything: love, family, safety, happiness. And that, Tina thought as she rested her head on her husband's chest and felt their baby kick, was more than enough. It was everything.